Greetings to everyone. You see a fragment of the program 13-2022. See the full version of the program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to all who become our patrons right now. If the incident on the Crimean bridge did not cause a nuclear reaction in the bunker leader, then the loss of Kherson may well become a trigger for the use of nuclear weapons, in the name of a turning point in the war, although it is already obvious today. This is a zugzwang. It turns out that the FSB report on the investigation of the break-in on the Crimean bridge, which was distributed on Wednesday, was an extended version of the report with which Sotnik-TV came to Putin on Sunday evening. Let's pay attention to the fact that in this hastily blinded version, even the number of wheels of the vehicle fixed at the checkpoint does not match the photo of the truck during the inspection. Nevertheless, this incident, called a terrorist attack, somehow survived Putin. Now he walks around and, all over the place crowing about the terrorist nature of the Kiev regime. Kherson? And they will do it for sure. As shown by the recent hysterical rocket attacks, there are not so many high-precision weapons in the Russian army. Using his meager arsenal with such intensity, Putin risks being left without missiles in the near future. Industry cannot produce all types of ammunition and weapons systems because of Western sanctions, said a high-ranking representative of NATO, noting that he does not know how much time Russia needs to mobilize 300,000 soldiers as part of partial mobilization in the Russian Federation. It can take several months, he clarified. That is, as we established earlier, to fight Putin is not only with nothing, but also with someone. And in the case of the loss of Kherson, the brainless Führer can take a desperate step, because after the capture of Kherson, the road to Crimea opens for the ZSU. And it is unlikely that Putin will wait for the decisive steps of the Ukrainian army. Rather, he will strike first, trying to break the course of the war. Nuclear. If Putin uses nuclear weapons, the war can go out of control. The Washington Post warns in its article that it should be taken seriously. But it is also necessary to worry about the fact that Putin's threats can force the West to retreat, because this will shake the foundations of the world order. A nuclear state cannot invade its neighbors and remain unpunished, and the states that don't have to buy it. The invasion will end when Putin realizes that he cannot win and that the costs of retreat are less than the costs of continuing the war. And here, the West should not be shaken. Important are not only the catastrophic costs of Putin's use of nuclear weapons, but also the catastrophic costs of the fact that he can use nuclear threats to win. It is possible to agree with all theses, except one: Putin does not count the damage. He has not made decisions in the area of radio for a long time. The damage from the war is already so huge, and on the horizon looms such a large-scale calculation of the results of the invasion, reparations of $100 billion, if not trillions, that retreating for Putin is equivalent to signing a death sentence. Therefore, he will raise the stakes and increase the hits while there are funds. The West is warning Putin through the mouths of retirees. Former advisor to Trump, John Bolton, who painted a target on Putin's forehead, former Director General of the Royal United Institute of Defense Studies, Michael Clark, who reported, 3 or 4 members of NATO personally contacted the relevant officials in Russia and in the Russian General Staff to tell them, don't even think about it. However, according to his words, the West will not use nuclear weapons in response. We have enough conventional weapons to hit all of your nuclear infrastructure and facilities. If we only think that you are going to use nuclear weapons, if we see the beginning of preparations, we can attack first, Clark said. A possible message from the West to the Kremlin. The head of European diplomacy, Josep Borrell, said even more specifically, a nuclear attack against Ukraine will cause not a nuclear but a powerful military response. But this does not mean that the answer will be empty. For the use of barbarian weapons, Russia will suffer under the full program. Become our patrons right now and see more in this program. Putin's elite wolves are afraid of prospects. Nobody wants to die, neither from the anger of the king, nor from the burning of the West. The Russian Orthodox Church is preparing the population for mass sacrifice. Special priests advise the flock to be at the epicenter of the explosion so that everything ends quickly. While Peskov is talking about the absence of the second wave of mobilization, military officers are making noise across Russia. Since October 25, the Czech Republic tightens the ban on entry into the country of citizens of Russia. And in friendly Kazakhstan, Russians who escaped from mobilization are hunted on the streets, asked who is Crimea, after which they are beaten. And that's all for today. See the full version of the program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to all who become our patrons right now. See you tomorrow on Friday's live broadcast. Glory to Ukraine.